New York Giants, 25th pick of the first round, Miranda. You are back up here with the Giants. We got big money invested in Daniel Jones now. So what are we going to do here?
Yeah, I mean, I like what the Giants have been doing just all around. I mean, they're making sure that their guy is there, whether it's everyone's guy or not, whatever. They're for right now, Brian Daboll said he's my guy, and they're having him stick around. Obviously, Saquon was back in Saquon form. I mean, you saw my article. Obviously, one of my best pickups was the Darren Waller signing. That was huge. And before, that pickup, I would have been like dead set on a receiver. Now, a couple of the guys that I kind of was targeting are off the board. So I'm kind of going to audible a little bit. I believe it was in the last couple of weeks. I think they let their center go. I think he signed a contract. Feliciano is gone. I'm going to go John Michael Schmitz out of Minnesota as a center to keep Daniel Jones, who's a mobile guy, and to keep Saquon freaking healthy.
Ben Bredesen currently projected to start at center for the Giants. John Michael Schmitz, I feel, is a better option there, right?
Much better.
Okay.
Night and day.
Great pick there, Miranda. Let's now go to the 26th pick and the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, right? Dallas Cowboys, yeah. Brad, pick 26. Interesting where they could go here.
Well, I mean, with the trade of Brandon Cooks, we're fairly confident wide receivers probably not at the top of their list. They could. This team wouldn't surprise me if they drafted a running back here. I'll be honest, because I'm not a Ronald Jones believer. I don't like what's behind Tony Pollard, and Tony Pollard's hurt, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not going to go running back because nobody's drafting running back in the first round, not named Bijan. But give me Michael Mayer, tight end from Notre Dame. They lost Dalton Schultz. They have Jake Ferguson, who is okay, but I think they need to upgrade that position. And I would have taken Washington here because of, the athletic freak profile of him. But Michael Mayer is kind of an all-around really good player. I like his ability as a blocker. Darnell Washington's good at that too. I like his ability as a pass catcher. I like his route running. I mean, and how do you not love Notre Dame tight ends? I've always been a big fan of him. He's my favorite one in this class still, even though Darnell Washington is an athletic marvel for sure.
I was hoping he would be there 2 picks from now. Not going to lie. He almost got there, Shane. He almost got there. Is this where the tight end run starts in the first round? I don't know. I don't think you'll be going one with Buffalo here, Shane, at pick 27. But I think we could see a couple more tight ends maybe go off the board here before we're done talking. But Shane, Buffalo, the Bills, pick 27 here. We got to get some more. What are we doing here?
Look, I don't think the Bills have any huge glaring holes on their team, but I think there's a lot of positions that could be upgraded. I think it allows them to go with the best player available. It'd be nice to get another receiver, get a Jordan Addison, but ultimately I'm going with a player that I think is probably going to go in the top 10 of the NFL draft, and he's still sitting here on the board. So I'm going to take Nolan Smith, the edge rusher out of Georgia. Von Miller, pretty old. He's getting to the end. He's got to, retire to the chicken farm at some point. And when that happens, Nolan Smith can step right in there in that pass rushing role and be, he's a monster athlete who is a 5-star recruit. He's phenomenal. I think it'd be a great fit.
How much investment are we going to spend at this position? And for Buffalo, you've got Nolan Smith now. We've got Boogie Basham, Greg Rousseau, Epinesa.
The thing is, Nolan Smith is not any of those players, right? I mean, that's the big left defensive end, Rousseau and Basham. I think Epinesa has that inside-outside ability. I think the stand-up pass rusher for the right side of the Bills defense is slightly different than this investment that they've made. But look, they've taken a lot of edge guys over the years in the first and second round. But I think Nolan Smith the fall needs to stop.
I mean, you're right as far as value goes. You're absolutely right. Because of the way the picks changed, I've got 3 picks in a row here in the first round. The first of which is the great Cincinnati Bengals on the clock. And we've talked about tight ends a lot. The Bengals currently have one on the roster. And that's Devin Asiasi. Exactly. He's the only tight end on the roster right now. It feels like they're leaning that way. I don't know what the right tackle situation is. There, DeJuan Jones on the board intrigues me. Me and Shane's talked about it, but Shane's talked me out of it. I feel like they've got it. Like, you're in that Super Bowl window, right? It's still open. You've got to get a player that's going to contribute immediately. And I don't know that there's a better high volume pass catcher available at the tight end position than the guy I'm going to take. And the Bengals have shown in the past they have no problem drafting people in the first round, either with average testing or no testing at all. It happens a lot with them. One of the few teams this is not a prerequisite. So the Bengals will select Dalton Kincaid, tight end Utah, here with pick 28. Shane, I know you love Kincaid, and like I said, his ability to get open, make plays, it's going to be huge in this offense, right?
I think it'd be an ideal fit for the Bengals to get Kincaid. He can block decent enough, and you have the pass catching ability. I love that. If he's there at 28, they should run that card up there.
I appreciate that vote of confidence. Now that brings us to pick 29, and the New Orleans Saints are on the clock. And I had locked in interior defensive line in my mind this whole time, but the top three are gone for the most part. I love Javon Dexter. I don't know if his value gets him into the first round. I just don't know. I feel like he's there. I feel like wide receiver is a place it can go. Jordan Addison still on the board here. Jalen Hyatt still on the board. Both, I think, would be good in the Saints offense. But I promise craziness here. And I'm not going to do it. Give me Hendon Hooker. I considered here. But I find that hard to believe that they would do that with Derek Carr in place, multi-year deal. But it feels like he would work out.
Well, Daniel Jeremiah had him go to the Vikings today. So
okay, so that was the spot. I couldn't remember the spot. Yeah. Okay. Hendon Hooker is in play here. I think Detroit in the second round. I think Seattle in the second round are beautiful landing spots for Hendon Hooker. But give me Jalen Hyatt. Take the top off the defense here for the New Orleans Saints. They need that guy. They don't have that guy. Derek Carr needs that guy.
You're not a Rashid Shaheed fan?
Rashid, where did you have Rashid Shaheed ranked?
I didn't watch him last year. I'm mad at myself. I had a list of 150 receivers I scouted. I didn't scout him, so I'm just upset about it.
No, Jalen Hyatt, the pick here. I think he's a good fit. What do you think, Brad?
I mean, how can you hate it? Obviously Olave is set in stone as the guy in the future, but other than that, I mean, do you feel confident about anyone else on the roster? And if you don't, then you need to target one here and now when you've got some high-end wide receivers available. I mean, I would have been okay with Addison. I would have been okay with Hyatt. I mean, either one of them here, I think, fit what they're looking to do. So it's a great pick. Fantasy-wise, I mean, that shoots Hyatt up into the probably consideration for top 10 in any kind of fantasy draft.
I'm back up here with the Philadelphia Eagles with their own first-round pick, and this is a luxury pick for them. They can pretty much draft anybody. And I mentioned it at 10 when I picked Bijan, which is another luxury pick. And I talked myself out of corner there because they got Slay, they got Bradbury. But who's to say we can't stockpile here another corner? And he's still on the board with that speed, that athleticism. 10 Raz, right? Am I wrong here, Shane? So give me Deonte Banks, cornerback from Maryland. I believe his RAS is 10 or 9.99 or something. It's some kind of insane number.
Yeah, I think it's a 10 right now.
Yeah, so best testing corner of all time. There you go. Deonte Banks, 30 here to the Philadelphia Eagles. Probably going to be off the board earlier, but falls here in our draft.
It's a good pick. I mean, he's going to go in the first somewhere that just athleticism and size I think Deontay Banks is going to fit a lot of these systems where the corners, you want them to be big. And for the Eagles, I know they brought back guys. They got Darius Slay back, but really next year they could be bereft at the position again.
So this is definitely a look ahead pick. Maybe Bradbury's gone. Maybe they're both gone. Him and Slay both. They're could be get outs after 1 year. Miranda, your last pick of the night, the defending Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs. What do you get the kid that's got everything?
I know this one's hard. I mean, obviously we know why. They're just always, they seem to make water out of freaking wine every year. So I was, again, the 19th time I've said this, I could go in a few different directions here. The news today, they've already kind of lost Juju recently, and then the news of Mecole Hardman leaving kind of steered me back into that receiving core. I think right now they have Kadarius Toney, MVS, obviously Kelsey.
Sky Moore, I think is about it.
Yeah. So I really think, and again, if you're going to put anybody in there, as a receiver, as a rookie, I think you do it under Andy Reid and have Patrick Mahomes throwing you the ball. I'm going to go Jordan Addison, wide receiver out of USC. He's still there somehow. I'm shocked, but stoked. So let's do it.
Obviously, it feels like a good fit here.
Yeah.
I think right tackle. I think DeJuan Jones would get some consideration here. I think he's about to get some consideration here at pick 32. But
not tipping his hat. Hold on.
I'm not tipping the pick here, but I definitely think that's the position Shane's fixing to go. Maybe not Jones, but I like the fit here. Addison to Kansas City. Brad, do you like that fit as well?
Oh yeah. I mean, can you really hate any wide receiver that KC would wind up deciding to pick?
Exactly. Yeah.
From a fantasy perspective, he still is a first round consideration, probably top 7, I would guess. People love Jordan Addison, and in this offense, I mean, they don't have a receiver like him. I mean, he's really talented, and I think they'll know what to do with him once they get him on the field. And he probably could get in more snaps than a guy like Sky Moore or even MVS. I mean, just the way he plays.
All right, Shane. Is my prognostication correct, and you're going offensive tackle here?
Look, we're a little heartbroken. We had our eyes set on bringing Kenny Pickett right back with Jordan Addison there at 32. It would have been nice to bring them back together. So thank you, Kansas City.
Pittsburgh.
Look, offensive tackle is definitely a consideration. I mean, the Steelers are going to draft an offensive tackle at some point in this draft. But I don't love the options here. I think the player that they're going to take at some point, and it might be 32. I think it might even be 17. That's Mozzie Smith, defensive lineman out of Michigan. They're going to take him. All right, he's getting taken. I think it's going to be a lot higher than people think. Mike Tomlin seems to love him, and the Steelers are not a team that, they wear their heart in the sleeve. They show you who they're going to take, and they take that player. Mozzie Smith's going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler, I think, at the end of the draft, whether it be day 1 or day 2. Don't count out him going 17.
Didn't quite test like the number 1 Bruce Feldman freak.
Good enough. If it helps him fall, then all the power to that. But yeah, he did not test as well as I had hoped.
Production not great either, right?
No, it's really a projection, but he is a really good fit for the Steelers defense and playing that 5 tech and probably the heir apparent to Cam Hayward.
I got to ask, because I like these guys a little bit more. If you're going with that position, why not someone like Javon Dexter, maybe Tuli Tuipulotu, Keanu Benton, any of those guys?
I think Mozzie Smith, you're getting 323 pounds, right? You're getting someone that can play the nose on first and second down and then kick out to a 5 or 3 technique. I think the versatility he brings is going to be a lot better than those players. I agree. Like, I have Javon Dexter, I have Keanu Benton rated higher as well. I think they're better players, but more production. But I think that versatility is what the Steelers are looking for in defensive linemen.
Well, that's it. So let's quickly recap this entire draft quickly here for those of you who didn't catch all the picks. Carolina, number 1, C.J. Stroud, quarterback, Ohio State. Houston at pick 2, Bryce Young, quarterback, Alabama. Arizona, pick 3, Will Anderson, edge rusher, Alabama. Pick 4, Colts, Anthony Richardson, quarterback, Florida. Seahawks at 5, pick Tyree Wilson, the edge from Texas Tech. 6, Detroit, Jalen Carter, defensive lineman, Georgia. 7, Las Vegas, Devin Witherspoon, cornerback, Illinois. 8, Atlanta, Christian Gonzalez, cornerback, Oregon. 9, Chicago, Paris Johnson Jr., offensive tackle, Ohio State. 10, Philadelphia, Bijan Robinson, running back, Texas. 11, Tennessee, Peter Skoronski, offensive tackle, interior offensive lineman, Northwestern. 12, Houston, Miles Murphy, edge rusher from Clemson. 13, Jets, Broderick Jones, offensive tackle, Georgia. 14, New England, Darnell Wright, offensive tackle, Tennessee. 15, Green Bay, Brian Branch, safety, Alabama. 16, Washington, Drew Sanders, linebacker, Arkansas. 17, Pittsburgh, Joey Porter Jr., cornerback, Penn State. 18, the Lions, Will Levis, quarterback, Kentucky. 19, Tampa Bay, Emmanuel Forbes, cornerback, Mississippi State. 20, Seattle, Jackson Smith and Jigba, wide receiver, Ohio State. 21, Chargers, Quentin Johnston, wide receiver, TCU. 22, Baltimore, wide receiver, Boston College, Zay Flowers. 23, Minnesota, Brian Breezy, defensive lineman, Clemson. 24, Jacksonville, Kalijah Cansey, defensive lineman, Pittsburgh. 25, New York Giants, John Michael Schmitz, interior offensive line, Minnesota. 26, Dallas, Michael Mayer, tight end, Notre Dame. 27, Buffalo, Nolan Smith, edge, Georgia. 28, Cincinnati, Dalton Kincaid, tight end, Utah. 29, New Orleans, Jalen Hyatt, wide receiver, Tennessee. 30, Philadelphia, Deontay Banks, cornerback, Maryland. 31, Kansas City, Jordan Addison, wide receiver, Southern Cal. And 32, Pittsburgh takes Mozzie Smith, defensive line, Michigan. That's it. That was the draft. Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Miranda.
Of course.
For coming on and doing this live mock draft. It was fun and a lot different than the last time we got together and did this.
Yeah.
It's a blast. I always love doing these things. And, you know, and it's always fun looking back and going, well, we were way off.
Yep.
You never know what the teams are going to do.
Of course.
All right. So before I let you go, Brad, tell everybody where they can find your work other than Draft Countdown.
Yeah, outside of that, I mean, mostly here on YouTube. If you look up Roto Heat, you will see my face plastered all over the place. And then over on Twitter, you can find me at Roto Heat Brad. Thank you as always.
That was Brad Menendez. He's a great contributor here at Draft Countdown as well. Go to draftcountdown.com. You can follow all of Brad's work there. Brad, it's good talking to you tonight, man. And we'll see you again here on our live first round live stream of the NFL draft on April 27th. Brad, you will be here for a couple of segments that night as well. We can't wait to it's going to be a very collaborative effort. We'll talk about that more in the future, but Brad will be definitely be part of that, and we look forward to that. Brad, until next time, buddy.
All right, take care, all.
Miranda, how can we see all of your stuff here?
Just everything through Draft Countdown, obviously, and I have a potty mouth on Twitter sometimes and talk a lot of Packers and just other random things at Murda She Wrote. Mirda. It's a nickname. I'm not into murdering.
Are we sure about that?
Sure.
We don't know. We don't know you that well, to be honest.
Yeah, let's see what the draft night brings. I don't know.
Miranda, appreciate it. You will also be a part of that live stream coverage on night one of the draft, and we can't wait for that. Hopefully the Packers are on the clock, and maybe we'll hear you drop an F-bomb on the live stream there.
Oh, yeah.
Depending on what happens. But Miranda, thanks for coming on. We appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
Ooh, that was a long one, Shane.